So there was some good news for progressive leftist populist candidates from Super Tuesday, and that is Shahid Buttar, who's running to defeat Nancy Pelosi, again on a populist leftist platform. Got enough support to get on the November ballot, which is super exciting. And if you haven't heard of Buttar, he's just really amazing and inspiring person. He's a constitutional lawyer who has always seemed like been on the right side of justice and really fighting for social and economic justice issues. This is an article from The Intercept. He's worked on court cases litigating marriage equality, defending the civil liberties of Muslims facing FBI surveillance, has challenged the constitutionality of the U.S. Patriot Act. A lot of things that Nancy Pelosi has obviously been on the wrong side of history on. And then, let's see. And then this article just talked about how, Pelosi's out there campaigning for, Representative Henry Cuellar of Texas, one of the most kind of right-wing members of the Democratic Party. A majority of the time sides with Trump. That's the type of people that Nancy Pelosi is out there campaigning for when... Was it Jessica Cisneros is running to defeat Henry on a populist left agenda, and then you see Nancy Pelosi out there campaigning for this very right-leaning, centrist, kind of neoliberal Democrat. Shahid Buttar represents a total transformation of actually fighting for working people, fighting for things like Medicare for all, so we don't have 70,000+ people dying each year in the U.S. because they don't have health care, so we don't have 500,000+ people going bankrupt, reining in the military industrial complex, just this huge immoral atrocity that we spend, was it upwards of like $800 trillion a year. Most of our federal discretionary spending goes to our sick, bloated military budget. Shahid wants to, drastically cut that, rein that in, so we can have, more money and resources to support things like healthcare, infrastructure, education, a Green New Deal, so we have a inhabitable planet to live on, making sure we're holding the executive branch accountable when they're, acting in a very lawless and authoritarian way, like how Nancy Pelosi knew that George W. Bush and his administration were lying about the reasons for getting us into Iraq war. They knew they didn't have any WMDs. Nancy Pelosi knew this. That's obviously a hugely impeachable offense. She didn't think that was necessary to impeach Bush because it happened to Clinton, and just horrible. So, and then this is from their campaign manager. Shahid going 1-1 against Nancy, little shiny spotlight. One-on-one against Shahid going 1-on-1 against Nancy will shine a spotlight on precisely how little she has done for the district in the midst of a housing crisis. This is in California's 12th district, I think basically San Francisco area, one of the more expensive places to live in all of the United States. An opioid crisis, an out of control cost of living. Election will also reveal her role in exacerbating these issues that remain at the forefront of voters, both today and in November. So I really encourage you, if you live in California's 12th congressional district, that you really take a really hard look at Shahid Buttar and supporting him over Nancy Pelosi, because again, we don't need these corporate neoliberal centrist Democrats who are just really stuck in the status quo and this establishment way of thinking of how It's basically they have no vision for the future. They don't really have any of these ideas or policy positions that are actually going to materially improve the lives of the working people. Because guess what? Nancy Pelosi's I believe she's a millionaire multiple times over, I should say. So what incentive does she have to overturn the apple cart? The system's working really well for her. She's wealthy, she's powerful, she's Speaker of the House, she's been in the she's a 33-year incumbent for God's sake. So things are going really well for her, but obviously, people in the real world and people in California's 25th congressional district are really struggling. Majority of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. Wages are stagnant. Most people couldn't afford, it's like a $400 emergency. Our climate is just going to shit. We have a just crap healthcare system compared to the rest of the world. We need a Green New Deal drastically. We need free public education for college. We need to cancel student loan debt. We need to end the wars. We need to do all these really important things. And again, most of the U.S. Population supports these things, and Nancy Pelosi, because she represents the will of the Democratic establishment, the elites, the status quo, she's not willing to stand up and fight for any of those things because either she doesn't believe in them, or because it goes against her own class interest, or some combination of the two. Shahid Buttar would be just an amazing progressive populist member of Congress, and somebody who would really speak truth to power. And we sorely need more of those voices in Congress, more people like Bernie and AOC and Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib and Ro Khanna and Mark Pocan. And if he's able to defeat Nancy Pelosi in this race in November, it would obviously be a huge upset because, she's the Speaker of the House. She has, all of the establishment on her side, the fundraising power, but Shahid has the power, the grassroots power, the movement. He's not propped up by corporate donors or PACs or anything like that. He's not corruptible, I don't think. And again, it would just be so amazing if Shahid Buttar could defeat Nancy Pelosi. So if you live in California's 25th district, I highly encourage you to support him against Nancy Pelosi. And if you're, in California's 12th congressional district and you're a supporter of his, awesome. Keep up the momentum, keep knocking on doors, keep talking to friends, family members, texting, calling, donating if you can, because we need Pelosi gone. She's just a impediment to actually getting some really positive things done in the United States. In Congress passed things like Medicare for All and a Green New Deal, and her just centrist policies are just totally antiquated for the type of vision that this country needs to really adopt quickly at this point. So good news. I would love to hear your thoughts on Shahid Buttar making it to the November election against Nancy Pelosi. I think it's really super exciting. Peace. Much love.